Okay, today we'll start off with database. Okay, do you have any idea what is database? So basically a database is a repository. A repository, or it's a place where you can store data. Okay, it's a repository or it's a place where you can store data. Okay, see now first of all you have to understand where does the data come for you. So see, if you are writing an application, it can be an application. You'll be writing an application now. So this application can be developed using any language, that is irrespective. Your application can be developed using any language. Okay, you can use C language, C++. So you decide which language you want to develop, VB or Java or C#, anything that is secondary now. So you will develop an application using any language. But the values to your application will be coming from the user. You see from practical point of view. Don't simply see database. So how the database fits into the development of an application is very important now. So start seeing database from real world point of view. Independently you know what is database. But actually where does the database gets its value from? So this is very important. You will be having UIs like this. So see, for your application there will be a front end. There will be a front end. So you'll be having enter name, or on the enter ID, enter name, enter password. Like this you'll be having many fields in the front end. And the user will be submitting these values. And these are the values which enter into your application now. Okay, these are the values which enter into your application. So these values, what we do, we actually store them into variables first. Okay, we actually store them into variables. Like example, int id. Okay, so now see, every language will give you the support for storing what? The values which are entering your application. Every language will give support. C is giving you support, C++ is giving you support, Java is giving you support. But to what extent the data type is powerful is the question. And you already saw the Java data types are very powerful over other language data types. Okay, you can see the primitive data types are very powerful as compared to other language data types. So see, which language you use for development is secondary now. But all languages give the support to you. We choose the powerful language. Then name you'll get. So it might be a group of characters. So what I'll be using now? Java supports you with what? String. So then I'll go with name. Then I'll go with one more string. Then I'll go with what? Password. If you are having phone, enter phone. I can go with what? For phone I can go with long. So long phone. So like this we'll start. So these are the variables. See, this is a variable name. This is the data type. So depending on the type of value what you are expecting, we decide our data type in the application. Okay, in the application we decide our data type based on the user given value. Okay, so this is how the language goes on giving you excellent support. So then what we do, using all these values we start writing the logic. We'll write whatever logic is required, we write it. And finally you give back the response. So this is a request. The user will be giving a request. And once the request is processed means what? You'll do whatever logic you'll write now, and then finally give back the response. This will be the response. Any application in the world you take, this is the same story. It's nothing different. Any application. Okay. So now, but the problem here is one problem we are facing. Values are coming, you're processing, you're giving back the response, everything is fine. But what values you're processing here, okay, these values are going to be stored temporarily now. Okay, as soon as you give back the response or the application shuts down, the values will be lost forever. Okay, but what exactly is the requirement now is the user will not go on to give all the values every time. First time he'll give all the values, second time onwards he wants to enter only few values, and the other values your application should get it now. But from where it will get it? So you have to store somewhere. Okay, see, always your application is treated as primary memory. Primary memory means what? It is volatile. As soon as your program or application completes execution, understood? As soon as your program or application completes execution, the values will be lost. You cannot get back these values. So before the values are lost, you have to do something. What do you have to do? Save them somewhere permanently. So that next time what will you do? You can retrieve from that location. Yes, that is what happened. So these problems actually they started facing. When they started facing? In 1950, 1960 when they started writing applications now, these problems they heavily started facing. So that is when they started something called as file management system. They were storing all the data in file management. They are using, this is one kind of management to store data. They are storing it in file, simple. They are storing the data in what? I'll write it simple, file system. This was the first initial introduction. But there are a lot of problems while storing the data in the file system. See, now this is secondary memory. This is secondary memory. Valid, see, values will enter your application. Values are entering your application, you'll process it. After processing, what will you do? You'll save it permanently. Okay, where you'll save? In one file you'll save. And then after processing everything, you'll go back the response. Next time the user will enter with only few values. What? Only name and password. Rest all values will be fetching from where? From the file itself. So from the file you'll process it, and then again you'll be giving back the response. So this was the initial step what the computer took actually to store the values. But actually what happened, so what happened is, so there were a lot of problems in the file system. What were the different problems in the file system? What were the different problems in the file system? Can you guess? So storing values in file became very complicated. Means as the, see now it's going to be an application. See, you are writing an application for a big organization. Organization means what? Some big companies. Okay, now imagine how much amount of data will be coming. 2 values come, 3 values come, it's fine. But when you start getting too many values, now maintaining all this data into a file becomes very complicated. Because after storing it, there are few operations you generally do. What are the few operations you generally do is, we call it as CRUD operation. CRUD means creating a record, R means reading a record, U means updating a record, D means deleting a record. These are the general 4 operations you always go on to do. Okay, if you store it in a file now, what you have to do now next? If he's a new user, you'll create a new record and store it into the file. Next time he wants to make some modification, he changes his phone number, so you'll change it, you'll update it. Then you might want to read it also. Sometimes he'll give the value, you might want to read it also, or you might want to delete the record also. So doing this in file becomes very, very complicated, because as the data size increases, see 10 users fine, 20 users fine, 1 lakh users, 2 lakh users, it becomes very difficult to maintain all these things in a file now. So these are the problems. And one more problem what they started seeing in file was, okay, doing all these CRUD operations, security. So all this was becoming a big problem while they started storing in the file now. So a lot of problems were there. That is when they thought of one more one more thing now. Instead of file system, they started using something called as database. The file system was replaced with a concept called as DBMS, database management system. We'll see there's a big difference between database and database management system. We'll see what is the difference. So file system was removed and a new concept was introduced. It was called as database management system. So in the database management system, what will be there? They will be having a database. So all the values will be saved in the database now. So here data can be very well organized. Okay, how it will be organized? Here data will be stored in the form of tables. A new approach was introduced, and this was found to be very effective, and it solved all the problems what the developers were facing now. So it's a very simple scenario now. So you get your values, you write your logic, and these logic will be dumped into what? Into your database. First time you will save them, next time what will you do? Retrieve them. So this is how an application works. You can write your application using any language, and you can use your database for permanent storage now. Understood? So this is the actual role of a database in an application. So why I am telling you this is because many people think if I know Java I'll get the job, or if you know C you'll get the job, if you know VB you'll get the job. Language is secondary, that is used for writing the logic. Okay, but end of the day all your values after processing, where you'll be dumping now? Database only will dump. So now database becomes very crucial for any developer. Do not neglect it. Okay, so even if you are doing testing also, database is very important. You'll understand why when the course progresses. Even if you are in testing also, it is very important. Even if you are in development also, it is very, very important. Okay, so let's see how important it becomes. But the role of a database in an application is this much. Now what it will do? It stores the values permanently for you. It's a repository. So it is actually, database is used for storing what now? Database is actually used for storing what? Data. So where do you get the data from? User. Understood? So this is how it will happen. So initially, see, what we are doing, what approach we are taking. We are learning the language separately. We are learning the Java language separately. After completing the Java language, then we learn what? Database. We'll learn database separately. Both of them will be learned separately. Then we'll learn how to design UI. So then all these things will be integrated, and then your application will be complete. So step by step we are learning independently. First language will complete a programming language, then we'll complete the database, then we'll complete the UI, and then finally all these things will be integrated. So till now we have completed only language. So you have to learn database. Are you clear with this? So this one brief introduction. So now about database, and database is used for only simple things, storing data or what? Values. Simple word, data means values. So the file management system was replaced with database management system. Okay, now see, database is different, database management system is different. Okay, database is just a repository. Now database management system is on software, okay, which is used to maintain your database. There's a huge difference between DBMS and database. So it's a management system to maintain your database. Means how the database will be maintained. Okay, that is what is DBMS. We'll be seeing that. So this is what is a database now. Are you clear with this much now? So on a broader angle, I just introduce you database. Now, for us, how important is database? Means what is the type of application we develop? What is the type of application we develop? We are going to develop. This is general what I do. And this is true for standalone applications. Whatever diagram I have given you is true for only standalone applications. Means in every computer you go on installing your application also, as well as you will be installing what? Database also, as well as you will be using the UI. Everything will be in a single computer. Anyway, you got the rough idea now. This is called as, this will happen in a standalone application. But we are here to develop what? Web applications. Okay, so today, earlier database was used like this, but today we use it as a centralized repository. I'll explain you the meaning of what is the word centralized. Centralized database we say. So this is for standalone. Shall I clear centralized database now? Sorry, this is for standalone application. In standalone application what will happen? Database, the user interface and the application all will be in a same computer. Okay, let's see, because we are here to develop what? Web applications. So in a web application, where does the database play a role? Same role only it plays, nothing different. It plays the same role only, but where exactly, in which architecture or in which, I'll draw the diagram, you'll get the idea. Where exactly the database will sit when we develop a web application. Shall I clear this now? Okay. Everything is going to be same, only I change it here. Almost all. Enter name, enter ID, no? I'll modify the same diagram. Enter ID, enter name, enter password, enter phone, and you'll have the submit button. Okay, so see, it is the same thing. What will happen now is the application and the database will be in one computer. The application and database will be in one computer. This is computer, and generally this is computer, and we call this as a server. That's the word we use. We are going to reach to that level. You'll understand. Technically, we'll be explaining what is server and all. Don't worry. See, we are going to develop an application, but your application will be kept in something called as a server. Database also will be kept in something called as a server. In one computer, we'll keep both of them, and from some other locations. This is one machine now. This is one machine. Now I'm talking about what? Web applications. So you'll be, now this will be a browser in some other computer. This will be something like on machine 1. Okay, you'll open a browser like you see, you already seen some kind of these applications. Like example is Yahoo, Rediff, Gmail. These applications are not installed in your computer, but you'll in your machine you'll be using a browser. You'll type www dot whatever the which one application you want to work with. It will get connected. So you will be interacting with the application. The application will be actually fetching the values from the same thing. It is in the back end only. Okay, it's in the back end only. So then what happens? You'll make the request. Your application will receive the values, process it, and it will give back the response. Only thing is the application will be running on what? A different computer. Understood? It will be displaying here. Like this it will be happening. So now you can have one Internet Explorer. So this is here you have got a browser. A browser will be interacting with your application. Or you might have one Android application also which can interact with your application. An Android application also can interact. Or other way around, it might happen like this also. There will be one application. 1 second. Just I'll draw it for you. This will be another application, www.railways. Supposing you have written a bank application, railways app or something. So they will interact with their application. It is their application. And this application will interact with what? Your application. This is the route. So now see, your data is getting accessed, but from how many locations it's getting accessed? It can be accessed by a Android or mobile application, or it can be accessed by a browser, or it can also be accessed by a different application like www.railway. Supposingly yours is a bank application. You have written a bank application now. It's a bank application now, and this is what? A railways application. So another application can also use your data. Understood? So this is the current trend now. Generally we don't develop standalone applications. Today in companies we go on to develop which kind of applications? Web-based applications, because see the idea is what, we want to share the data to many users. Okay, see today you are able to book online tickets. The reason is what? There is a centralized database and anybody can see the data, access the data, any user. So that's the whole idea. And why people prefer to go for centralized databases is to improve the business. It's nothing but service. So today any business is depending on what? Software for its service. Service means here, how good you see now, generally you think now, like I want to withdraw the money. Okay, generally look, you want to, you see, means I want to open an account in a bank now. I want to open an account in a bank. So you have to decide which bank will you choose now. Okay, so we look for a company which is going to give, or we look for a bank which is going to give you more service. Now what kind of a service? Example, I'll deposit the money here, I'll withdraw it in Delhi, fine. Okay, but if you go for a small bank, what happens? Where you deposit, from there only you have to withdraw, because they don't have a centralized database. So, but if you go for this kind of architecture, what happens? You deposit the money anywhere, but you can withdraw it from any location. So today, giving service to customers is becoming more important. If you want to give service, this kind of applications are becoming more mandatory. So that's why in India we go on to maximum deal with what? And all developers are developing only web-based applications. So here exactly what happens. So we as application developers, what do? We develop this kind of an application. Okay. In fact, in the database there are something called as tables which will be created. So these tables will be created by some specialists called as DBA, database administrators. Okay. So they will be creating the tables. So what is the duty of the application developer? For those tables, we have to write the logic as well as front end. So we go on writing so that is back end now. So we application developers go and write the front end for the database. Understood? Otherwise it's very difficult to directly work with database. So we write the front end now. So this is the whole scenario now. Understood? So you understand now where the database fits in now? In web application, standalone is simple, leave it off. Don't bother too much about standalone. But in web application, this is how it will be used. It will be acting as a back end. We say no back end. Okay, so that is called as backend, and here we will be writing the logic for that backend and displaying all the values. We will retrieve whatever the required values from the database and we will be displaying it in the front end like this. That's it, nothing more about database. Okay, finally whether it is standalone or web based. Okay, if you learn it independently, it is the same. First of all, you have to learn database independently. The role of database, it is same, only the difference is in architecture. If I go for standalone application, everything will be in a same computer. If I go for a web-based application, things will be little different. We split. Application will be on place, but the same application will be accessed from other location. But remember, whether it is standalone or web-based, there is only one application which is interacting with the database. It's only the accessibility what you are giving to the application. If it is standalone, what happens? There will be only one user which will be interacting with the application, and this will be in one machine. Understood? But there what's happening? Same architecture, but your application is getting accessed in multiple locations. So from the backend point of view, you see it's the same role. Okay. And initially what I'll be teaching is, I'll teach you database independently, separately I'll teach you. Okay, how you store data and all that will work independently. Then later on, we'll start developing applications in this particular format. Clear? And see, these are called as web applications. Web application means what? Just to highlight some information for you. These are web application means only one organization user will use this application. Like State Bank of India. I'm a member for State Bank of India. Now State Bank of India is giving exposure to only its own customers. If it is like that, it is called as web application. Okay, but sometimes what happens, like, okay, or we'll take it like this. You join some company, Infosys. Now only the Infosys employee can use their application now. It is restricted to what? A single organization. So web applications are always restricted to single organization. Understood? You are restricted to single organization. But sometimes what happens, you want to, in web applications, the idea is you want to share the data to a single organization. That's the whole idea. In web applications, what happens? You want to share the data to a single organization. But sometimes it so happens you want to share the data to multiple organizations. Like example is bank. Okay, so in bank means what happens, this is your bank application. Now railways application, another application wants to use your database. They'll be having their own database. Railways application also has its own database. But in spite of that, they'll be depending on your database. Why? You want to buy the ticket now. So your value is present in which database now? Here. So these type of applications are called as distributed applications. Distributed means an application data will be exposed to other organization also. Means if you want your application to be interacted with third party organizations also, we go on to develop distributed applications. Okay, so this is it. So initially we start off with web applications and then we'll be moving into distributed applications. Okay, so end of the day you understood the role of database now. That is very crucial now, where the database fits into an application. Okay, why did I draw this is because many people when they are learning database they neglect it. They think, okay, I know Java, okay, if I know Java I'll get job, I have no need of database for me. Okay, question is, if you don't concentrate on database, what logic will you write here? Logic we know what to write, but after processing, where will you store it now? That is very crucial, because if you don't store it properly, next time you can't write the logic properly. From where will you retrieve the values? So this becomes a big question mark. So application developers should know in and out about database. Not only application developers, even testing people, those who do testing, they also should be aware of database, because they'll go on doing testing. We'll see what is testing later. But database is so crucial nowadays. Okay, like almost anybody working in industry should know database. And to work with database now, we use one more language called as SQL. To work with database, you should know one more language called as SQL. Now the full form of SQL is Structured Query Language. The full form of SQL is Structured Query Language. Yeah, it is Structured Query Language. To interact with database, you have to use SQL only. So one more new language you are going to learn now. So Java language or whatever language, you will use it for what? Programming. And SQL language will be used for what? Interacting with database. One more new language you will be learning now. Clear? So it's also a high level language. As it is, it's a high level language. It will also have its own process. Compilation, execution, all that will happen. Clear? So if you want to enter industry, now what is mandatory? One programming language mandatory and one SQL querying language we say. Querying language is mandatory. Programming language you decide. It can be any programming language. Okay. VB, EBA, whatever it is. But we are preferring Java because Java is very powerful. Similarly, you need only one language now to interact with database, that is SQL. Okay, so SQL is common now. So programming language will prefer Java now, and along with Java we'll learn SQL. So this is for the application developer, Java application developer. Supposing you want to do testing now, example, see how important both the languages are becoming today. You are doing testing. If you want to do testing, there is one tool today nowadays which we use called as Selenium. So for Selenium also, what is required now? Java is required, and to do testing you should have good knowledge about database also. So up till here whatever you are learning, it is good. Means this much of syllabus is mandatory for what? Either you move in as a tester or you move in as a developer. Almost all. This is highly mandatory. You might join anything. You might join a tester job or you might join a development job. That is secondary. That you will decide later. But this much of knowledge is very much essential for a tester also as well as a developer also. Okay. Having said this, we'll move into the next topic now. Do you have any questions here? What is database? What's its role in the application? A simple minimum introduction I have given to you. Okay. About what is a database? Do you have any questions here? No? Should I clear it off? Okay. So for this also there are some documents. So this is one folder you'll be getting. Here you'll be having all the things, means what I'll be covering now. This is the main folder, SQL documents. And see, Oracle, MySQL and all are examples for what? Database. They are all examples for database. Oracle, MySQL, DB2 and all that. Okay. So now see this. First, we'll go through some document. What is data? First, database. What is in database? The first word what we are learning is some terminologies we are breaking now. One by one we'll break. What is data? Data is nothing but value. Clear? Then what is database? Database is a repository and is used to store data, especially related to an organization or enterprise, and it is an example for secondary memory. Database. Say earlier file management system were used for storing and maintaining data. Various problems with file system storage are, there are many problems. Two I have listed. Doing CRUD operations like inserting a record, reading a record, updating a record, deleting a record in file becomes very difficult. And one more is data redundancy or duplication. Same data will be going on written there. We'll see all this in depth when you do database. You'll understand these two topics. To avoid all the problems means end of the day in permanent storage you are going to do these things only. In the permanent storage, if you want to store your data permanently now, you'll do only these two things. But file system doesn't support that properly. To support this properly, what was introduced? Something called as DBMS was introduced. A new concept was introduced. To do what? These things only. And the DBMS will support this in a very beautiful way. So now let's see what is database management system. To avoid all the above problems with file management, DBMS was introduced. Now DBMS is a software management system to maintain what? A database. It's a software management system to maintain a database. The software required to perform the task, or another way, the software required to perform the task of database management is called as DBMS. Understood? Or database management system. Now management of data means what? What do you mean by management of data? Providing mechanisms for data manipulations like adding, updating, deleting or reading of data, or providing data security against unauthorized access. Like this many things are there, but this is what is actually data management, and DBMS is going to give you good support for all this. Okay, so there are many types of DBMS implementation, but among which two things are very very popular. Which are they? Can you guess? RDBMS and ORDBMS. RDBMS, there are many types of DBMS implementation. Many softwares are there. Okay, they tried it in many ways, but among them two are very popular. One is RDBMS, and other one is ORDBMS. Now what is RDBMS? First we'll see the first one. Relational Database Management System. See, it's nothing but a relational database management system is an implementation of what? DBMS. It's an implementation of DBMS. And in RDBMS, data will be stored in tabular format. You'll be storing the data in the form of tables. Anyway, we're going to see it now. Okay. And one more thing is, see, if I want to store some employee details, this is what we do. We'll create one table like this. And you'll have, see, generally, tables is the best way to store data. And RDBMS is supporting that itself. You'll be having something called as employee ID, name, password like this. Like this, more columns you can have. Employee number 101, 102, his name is AA, BB, his password can be anything, A, single B, like this. So like this you start storing the data now. Why we store the data like this is because managing the data becomes very easy. Because if I want any details of A employee, all is there in a single line. If I want any details of B employee, all is there in a single line. But assume that you keep it in a file and data is scattered. How will you manage now? So it becomes very difficult to work with files. That's why in RDBMS what happens, they are storing the data in the form of tables. This is what they have done. After storing in tables, what happens, sometimes they'll go on to create more tables like phone number. Okay, they'll store it in phone ID, employee ID, phone number. Like this, what happens, phone number, phone ID is 1, employee ID is 101, phone number is 111. Next, phone ID is 2, employee ID is 101, phone number is 1111, something like this, one extra one. Okay, so means we'll see why. Actually the idea is what, the data will not be stored in a single table. The data will be stored in multiple tables. Okay, and later on they'll be related. How they'll be related? See, these two columns will be related. And this is called as primary key, this is called as foreign key. Some concept is there, we are going to learn all this. Do not worry. So means what I am trying to say is, in RDBMS, I am talking about the features of RDBMS now. I am trying to say what is RDBMS. RDBMS means Relational Database Management System. So in relational data means, I am just telling you why it gets the name called as relational. Okay. So in RDBMS what happens, first thing is you are going to store the data in the form of tables. Second thing what happens is, you will be storing the data not in a single table, but you store it in multiple tables. Now when you are storing it in multiple tables, now which data belongs to whom? That's the question now. So we link it in some particular manner. Okay, and all that problem will be solved. Now you might have questions, why should I store the data in multiple tables? I can store it in a single table and all that. Do not bother about all that. Understood? As the course progresses, you will only understand. But I am talking about the features of RDBMS. That's it. So in RDBMS, data will be stored in what? Tabular format. And next is, data will be stored in many tables, and all the tables will be related with the help of each other, called as primary key and foreign key. Next, RDBMS database supports normalization. Normalization is a big word, we'll be seeing it later, don't worry. Then next, RDBMS database uses what? Structured query language. All RDBMS databases are going to use structured query language to interact with the system. Means this table will be there in what? A database like this. Like this, you'll be creating tables and they'll be kept in the database. To interact with the database, you'll be using a language called as SQL. To interact with the database, you'll be using a language called as SQL. So RDBMS database use what? Structured query language to communicate with the system. Means if you want to do any CRUD operation, CRUD means what? Don't tell it CRUD, tell it always as CRUD. Okay, CRUD, create, read, update, delete. Operation in RDBMS, you have to enter a valid SQL statement in a editor. In an editor, you have to type it. Okay, so we'll see what is that editor. But if you type that SQL query, that query will be given to the database, and it will execute that query and do all the operations. What operation? It can be like C. Now, what do you C stands for? Creating a record, means adding a new record. R means reading a record. U means updating, changing the value. D means deleting the record. So these are the common operations what you're going to do, nothing more than this. So now see, SQL stands for structured query language, which allows you to prepare what? SQL statement. The next point, SQL is a standard proposed by ANSI, American National Standard Institute. It's a standard, so all people will follow the same standard now. So there's an advantage now. So we are going to learn RDBMS and SQL. Okay, why we are learning this means, because here many vendors are implementing the same thing for you. Oracle is doing the implementation of what? These things only. Okay, MySQL also will do the same. Okay, so all are doing the same thing now. See, there are many vendors who provide databases following RDBMS standard, but there are slight variations. So these are some standards. Now we are going to learn the standard, but to learn the standard you can use any database. But I will be using what? Oracle database to learn this standard now. So if you know this DBMS and SQL concept, RDBMS and SQL concept, you can migrate to any database very easily. To migrate, what do we do is, see, so when you are working with any particular database, you need to check the database manual. If you want to see, we are actually learning these concepts in Oracle. Same concept is implemented in what? MySQL, DB2 and all that. But there will be small variation. What variation you will understand. That's why I will be covering two databases, not one. Here we are going to learn two databases. The one is Oracle, one is MySQL. So if you know how to handle two databases, any database you can start learning on your own. Like if you want to work on DB2 or anything, you can migrate very easily. Clear? So some of the databases which follow RDBMS standard are Oracle, MySQL, DB2, etc. Now some of your interview questions now. What is the difference between DBMS and RDBMS? So DBMS is a software management system to maintain database. RDBMS is an implementation of DBMS. DBMS is just one software. Okay, RDBMS is an implementation. There are many ways, there are many kinds of database management system. RDBMS is one of the type of DBMS. Okay, apart from RDBMS, you got what? ORDBMS is there. Many are there. I am talking about the two most extensively used ones. Okay, fine. Now what is SQL? SQL stands for what? Structured Query Language, and is used to communicate with database. SQL is a standard proposed by ANSI. Some of your interview questions. The next thing now, what is ORDBMS? Actually, this is where it becomes very interesting. Many people hardly know what is actually Object Relational Database Management System. You will understand this very clearly when you start developing applications, but let me make you understand some concept here first. See, what exactly is ORDBMS? Okay, RDBMS is over now. I am trying to explain you what is ORDBMS. In ORDBMS, what happens now? See, this is your application. As I told you, you can develop your application in any language. Okay, you can develop it in VB, you can develop it in Java, you can develop it in C#. That is secondary. But these are all object-oriented languages. Yes or no? These are all object-oriented languages. Yes or no? Yes, fine. So generally what happens, you know your UI now. What is the UI? ID, you will ask the user to enter, you will ask him to enter name, you will ask him to enter password, and you will ask him to enter phone, and he will submit the values now. You ask him to submit, he will submit the values. So once he submits the values, you have two options. One, you can use 4 different variables and store the data, like as I told you. What? Int, ID, string, name. See, in Java you can do this. String, password, and long, phone. So I can use 4 variables like this. Or one more thing I can do. Okay, we generally don't use 4. What we do? We put all these 4 into one user defined type. You know what is a user defined type now? Why do you use user defined type now? To organize the data properly in primary memory. Because if there are many employees now, what will happen now? You will have to use many variable names. So that's why what we do, instead of having many variable names, like, see, this is for one employee, I'll have 4 variables. Another employee, what will I do? Another 4 variables. Another employee, another 4 variables. So the naming of variable names becomes very complicated. So that is why what we do, we go on to define our user defined data. Our user defined data. In Java, our user defined data is called as what? Class. So we do like this. Class employee. So in Java we do like this. But in VB also the same support you are having now. What do? Always you collect your data into what? User defined type. But there they have their own style of defining user defined type. Okay, in C# also you will have your own style of defining user defined type. But finally you are having one class here, one user defined type. Then what do? You create an object. You will create an object and store the values. Later on what happens, see, when you give back the response now, this object will be destroyed now. Object will be destroyed. Okay, means when the application shuts down, Your object was holding all the values. Okay, but finally the object will be destroyed as soon as you give back the response. It's very clear, we know all this. Okay, but the problem is, as soon as you give back the response and any application shuts down, the values are lost. So what we do, see, when we receive the values, we definitely store them in user defined type. We use also, all you'll see very clearly. But finally the values in the object will be stored into what? A table like this. Understood? So that's what we do. What we do is, we create a table like this. Our table will be what now? Okay, we have already drawn the table. So, okay, you got a table now. So what we do, this data what you are getting now, okay, we have to write complicated, it's a complicated process. Now we have to retrieve the data from here and put it into these tables. You have to write. But there is one mechanism which was introduced. In every application, this is a common thing what you are going to do. In every application, this is a common thing you can do. And you can develop your application using any language. Okay, so in RDBMS, what happens? You have to do all that explicitly. You have to retrieve the values from the object and put it into the database in RDBMS. In ORDBMS, what happens, you know? Directly this object will be mapped with what? The tables. You will not write any query. Implicitly the data will be stored into the tables. So ORDBMS support this kind of a concept. What they support? They map your objects. Any object, I am not telling Java object. The object can be a VB, Java, C#, or even C++. Okay, any object data can be mapped directly with your table. It will be inserted directly. This is the concept of ORDBMS. So latest databases, whatever you are seeing, Oracle, MySQL and all, they are ORDBMS database only. And the full form of ORDBMS is Object Relational Database Management System. Any language object you can map with a database. Any language object you can map with a database. That's why it gets the name ORDBMS. So all the latest databases today are supporting this. But nobody uses the ORDBMS support. There are complications. Nobody uses, whether you develop an application in VB or in Java or in C++ or in C#, we do not use the ORDBMS support. We use only the RDBMS support. Okay, and we use the RDBMS support. We only do all that. Means we only explicitly get the data, dump it, all that we do. But while doing that, now there's a complicated code what you have to write. Too much of complicated code. You'll understand when you develop applications. That is why in Java what we do now, they have introduced a library. What is the best combination we have got in Java is, there's a library called as Hibernate. See, this is the combination. In Java what we do is, one second, we use something called as ORM technologies. Plus RDBMS. RDBMS is Relational Database Management System. This is the combination we'll use. There are many ORM technologies, one of which you know, which is very popular, Hibernate, Ibatis. Many are there, all are giving the same support. End of the day, you don't have to worry too much about this. They are all libraries, Java libraries. So what this library will do, what is Java going to do now? Your object is there now. Directly it will map with the table and store the database. So this is the combination we take. What is the combination you take? We use some libraries like Hibernate. That library, what it will do? It will map your Java object with what? Database. That will do. But we will not use the ORDBMS support. We will not use that support. So this is a combination. So any ORM technology, any, not all, any ORM technology, and these are all what? Java technologies. Okay, see, Java goes on to give you solution to all your problems. VB will not give you this solution. C# will not give you this solution. Understood? C++ will not give you the solution. That is why Java becomes very popular in developing your applications. So half of your work will be reduced when you are coding your backend, when you are using these advanced technologies. Half of your work will be reduced. Half means what? 90% of your work will be reduced if you use these advanced technologies while coding in the backend. Okay, so now see how the database is getting related. So if you know your database properly, now you can understand Hibernate. That's how the link goes. Understood? So, and be careful with database now itself, because many people jump to learn Hibernate. Practically they fail. Reason is their database concepts are not clear. Okay, so that's why I'll be teaching you accurately database to what level it is required in an application. Correctly to that level I'll be teaching you. And once you understand this much of database, definitely for you to understand Hibernate will be a cakewalk. So it's directly related, because what will be happening now, we'll be having our objects, and these objects data will be stored into database. Understood? So don't play around, work hard on database, because the more you neglect the database, the tougher it becomes while you start developing the applications, because in our applications we'll be definitely using Hibernate now. Understood? So that essential database becomes now. So I've given you a complete introduction, and I have made you understand what is OR DBMS. Even though OR DBMS is there, we do not use it. Just I highlighted what is OR DBMS. We use only RDBMS plus ORM technologies. ORM technologies full form means Object Relational Mapping. Object Relational Mapping Technology plus RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. ORM means understood now? ORM stands for what? Object Relational Mapping. And in Hibernate I'll be covering more. Object is in language, which is programming language. Relational is related with what? Database. So you are going to map object with relational world. So to map object with relational world, I will use on technology called as Hibernate. Understood? So you'll see this. That's a library. It's very simple. Once you understand all these concepts, further things will start becoming easy for you. So a brief introduction about what database I have given to you, how important it is I have given to you. Okay, so initially we'll start learning database independently, then I'll bring it into application. Then we'll develop an application. We'll understand how the database is used in development of an application. Okay, so as I told you again, there are many examples for which one? Database. Two examples which we are going to learn now here are Oracle and MySQL. So I'll start off teaching you Oracle. Okay, MySQL will be taught to you in projects directly. Understood? So two will cover. One is Oracle and one more is MySQL. Fine. So then, so first, as we are going to see this, I'll be covering Oracle. First I'll show you how to install. Okay, we'll be going with which version? Oracle 10G. So we'll go to Oracle 10G and I'll install it and then I'll show it to you. So Oracle 10G is what we are going to learn. So anyway, I'll complete off all this. I'll show you installation and all that. So is this topic clear to you? Are you getting clear with what is database? Very important, don't neglect. So we are bang on target. What is database? How it is related to our application development? What the application developer has to do? How important it is to you? All this I've explained to you. Okay, generally you think database independently. Don't think like that. See from application point of view. Anything you learn here, learn it from application point of view. Means where is language, programming language coming? Where is database coming? Learn like that. Clear now? And these concepts will become very clear to you. You don't have to worry about this. Any doubts you keep getting also? No use, because the things will get clearer and clearer as we proceed ahead. See, an object relational database management system. An object relational database management system. OR DBMS is also what? Database management system. It's also on DBMS only. Okay, OR DBMS also has the same features of what? RDBMS. Same. Extra only one it has. OR DBMS is used to bridge the gap between what? Relational world and object oriented programming language like Java, C#, C++, VB, etc. We can map directly any language object with the tables of relational database. In Java applications, we very rarely use what? Means if you are developing a Java application, we very rarely use OR DBMS support. It's a bit complicated, so that's why we leave it off. Understood? So in Java, in other languages we don't bother, but in Java especially we don't use the OR DBMS support. Now other languages might use the OR DBMS support and all that, leave it. Okay, but in Java what happens, application developers generally use RDBMS and the support of what? ORM technologies like Hibernate, IBATIS, Toplink, etc. Many other, anyone you can use. So today almost all databases like Oracle, MySQL, DB2, etc. are ORDBMS, but we rarely use the object-oriented support. We use only the RDBMS support. So I'll be covering the RDBMS part of a ORDBMS database. Database will use which one? ORDBMS only, but I'll be covering only the RDBMS support of it. Clear? Okay. So first I'll show you how to install Oracle. So which is the database we'll be covering now? Oracle. Okay. So Oracle, MySQL, these are all examples now. For which one? ORDBMS. Fine. Next, see this. So we are given your DVD. In that DVD you got the softwares. Yes, cluster software, go to the same folder. There you got something called as database. Here we will be having Oracle 10G. It is given in a compressed format. First extract it. Once it is extracted, one simple file is there inside it. Just go and you know what, double click. Okay, I can minimize the screen because it is coming in the back now. Okay, just click next. You know, very good in this. I accept. Next. Then what? The location. See where it is going to install. C drive, Oracle exe. A new folder will be created now. In C drive, it's right now not happened. In C drive, one new folder will be created called as what? Oracle exe. Be careful about that. So I'll do what now? I'll click next. Or if you want, you can change the destination. Don't do it. We always install all our softwares in C drive only. So it will ask you to enter a password. Okay. See, in the database, I'll be explaining you the architecture later. This is your Oracle database which you are going to install now. In the database, there is one user which gets created by default. By default, one user will be created. User means one account it is. Okay. And the name of this user is system. It is nothing but what? User, or we also call it in data in Oracle as schema. Both mean same. Schema, user, both are same. We'll be covering that in detail. Okay. But one of the default user is created. And the name of the default, this one is what? System. You can see it very clearly. This password will be used for both the anything it says system, database, account. So you have to give one password now. Okay, you should give one password. So generally in cluster, we give the password as cluster. You can give any password you want. But as far as the course completes, this password will be used many times in our programming also. In Java applications also we'll be using this password. So better you give the password as cluster itself. Okay, so I'll be giving the password for this. Means if you want to enter this this schema or user, what is the password you have to type now? Cluster. Because you are giving it here. Because you are giving the password here. Okay, so remember the password. So instead of giving some name and bothering too much, better you give it as cluster itself. Confirm the password, cluster, and again click what? Next. So the password for system user. What is the name of the user? System. So for that user, the password is going to be now cluster. Next. Okay. And now here finally install. Remember one thing, Oracle 10G is ORDBMS database. We are only learning RDBMS support of it. That you do not forget. This option will be enabled there. Let it be there. Setup as finished. Launch the database home page. It will tell. Click finish. It will open up. One launch page will open up like this. One browser will open up. Okay. And you will get this screen. If you have enabled it. By chance, if you are not enabled, if you disable it, okay, what you have to do? I'll close this. By chance, if you have disabled it, you can go like this. After installing here, go to all programs, go to Oracle, where is it now? All programs, okay. Yeah, here. So here you will have that which one? Go to database home page. Same screen will come up. You understand where to click? Go to database home page, click there, the screen will open up. By chance, it will open up definitely. By chance, if it doesn't open up, so we are in the installation process only. Okay, still installation is not complete. So what is the username you will type now? Type system. And what is the password you will give? Cluster. We had given the password as cluster now. Give it. So we are logging in means we have started using the system account now. Press enter. Okay. And now go to the option called as administration. Go to administration. In administration, database users you got, manage users. Understand now? Administration, database users, manage users. So you will get the screen now. There will be something called as, actually one more user is there, called as what? HR. Actually, when you install database now Oracle, there are many users which have got created. Right now I talked about only system. This is one schema. Okay, one more user is there by name what? HR. So both of them are what? Schema or user only. Okay, but he is the admin. System is the admin. So what you have to do, you log in as admin and you unlock what? HR. You log in admin and unlock HR. Okay, so how do you unlock now? See this. It is locked. See here, one icon you can see. So both are users only. So click there. You'll get this. Just click on it. I'll go back here. I just clicked on the icon now. So you'll get this screen now. So you have to give a password now. What is the password you give? Generally for this schema, we give the password as HR itself. So for HR and HR. So for System, what is the password you are giving in cluster? Cluster. For HR, what is the password you are giving? HR. Do not forget this. Okay, so maintain this, it will be helpful for you. And you can see here account status is what? Locked. So what you do? Make unlocked. Make it unlocked. And then scroll down. I've given the password, I made it as unlocked. And come down and select check all you do. Simply say check all. Check all, and after that here this is not selected, DBA. Select this also. That's it. Select everything here. Understood? That's it. Means click on check all and click on DBA. Two things you do. Then you say alter user. It will alter everything now. Whatever you have done, it will alter. It will affect. And now HR is unlocked. So now you can say log out. Okay. Close. Now what you do? Restart the computer. It's better you restart the computer. Shut down. So it will complete the installation process. Are you clear with this? Installation is complete now. So next you have to use it. So these are the two schema or users which get created for you. One is system and the other one is HR. He is the admin. System is the admin. From here we start controlling the full database. I'll write it. He is the admin. So initially HR was locked. What did you do? You unlocked it. So now we'll start working with the database. Yeah, now we can work with the data. Till now it was not installed. Understood? So now we have installed it. So now, as I told you, first we'll be working with database separately. Yes or no? We'll be working with the database separately. So what I'll do now, today I'll create one table. I'll create one table, we'll store values. The same operations I'll try to show you now. Which one? Correct operation. And all the, whatever I do now, means the table and all what I create, I'll be doing it in the user called as HR. So where I'll create my table? In HR user. We'll not do it here. We just leave it off. It is the admin. So we do not do anything here. So now the new table which I create now will be created in the HR schema. So let's see how you log into HR schema and do it. So now once this is done, see now to interact with the database, what is the language you need now? What is the language you need? SQL. Fine. But where are you going to type the SQL? You need an editor. So when you installed Oracle, Oracle software is itself giving you an editor. I'll show you how it looks. So now see, this is in the database now. What is that you are exactly going to do now? That you understand. So in the HR schema, this is the schema name. This is the password you gave now. So what I'll do, I'll create one table by name employee here. I'll be creating one table by name employee. So how many columns and all will be there, we'll see, but the table will be created in employee. This is first what I'm doing now. Okay, and the employee table will be looking something like this, because I want to capture some data now. So what it will be having is, see, it will have a name, first employee underscore ID. This is called as a column. So when you draw a table, generally what you do, you'll have columns only now. So I'll have employee ID and I'll have name and I'll have something called as salary. Some few details we'll correct first day. Understood? Employee ID, name and salary. So this is a table I want now. So this table will be created in the schema called as HR. And then what I'll do, once this table is created, okay, this table will be inside. I just drew it outside. Okay, this table will be here actually. Understood? Since it's not visible, I have drawn it outside. So then what I'll do, I'll be using on SQL editor now. You'll be having on SQL prompt now. So you'll start typing your type SQL queries here. This is a prompt, like SQL prompt will come. So there you'll type the SQL queries. This editor will supply the values to what? Database. The database will execute it and it will do the required operation now. Means if you are interested, you can store on employee detail here, another employee, you can read it, you can update it, delete it, whatever you want, you can go on doing it. So this is what is DBMS now, database management system. You are having data and it's a software to maintain your database now. One by one, all the words clearly you start understanding. Clear this now? So understood what I am going to do now? I am going to create a table now. Where? In HR schema. I am going to create a table in the HR schema. And follow all this properly, basics, because right now we are interacting with the schema directly. Later on when you write a Java application, your Java application should interact with what? These schemas. All the terminologies you get it right now, because JDBC is nothing but what? The same subject. Okay, so you should know where to give the password, what to do. If you want to learn JDBC, database is very essential. See, the route to Hibernate is this. If you want to learn Hibernate, I am telling you prior warning itself. Database is first. Mandatory. Plus what? Collections. In Java there is one subject called as collections. Plus JDBC is equal to what? Hibernate. Understood? So apart from that, there is one more thing which gets added nowadays. One second, I'll write it here. Database. From Java you should know this much. Collections. This is earlier old Hibernate. Before, this is less than 3.0 version. Less than 3.0 version, this is a story. Greater than 3.0, new story is there. Database plus collection plus something called as annotation plus JDBC. Okay, see from Java you should know this many things. Collections, annotation, JDBC is equal to Hibernate. If you know this much, then you'll know one more new technology called as JPA, Java Persistence API. Like that they'll get linked. Many people directly what they do now, they try to learn what? Hibernate. I'm not understanding, they'll tell. Why they'll not understand? You know, get the answer now. Why they'll not understand Hibernate? This much they don't know only. From where they'll understand that subject now? They'll tell only I know Java. Yes, I know Java. They'll tell, do you know database? Yes. How much? You know how much database they know. Okay. And finally they'll try to learn Hibernate. No use. You can never learn. And that's why everybody struggles. I want to learn Hibernate. I want to learn Hibernate. Very simple stories are there. Why people struggle to learn any new thing here. So this is the story. And see, we have to reach finally till here. If you know Hibernate, then you'll know what? JPA. This is latest. This is latest. So see, still nothing we have completed for you to understand Hibernate. Collections not completed, database not completed, annotation not completed, JDBC not completed. Then there is no question of learning Hibernate now. If you complete all this only, next story of Hibernate will start. And if you know Hibernate, as I told you, JPA will become easy for you. Fine. So all this let it remain. I just told you how important all these subjects are. Because earlier only if I guide you, you'll put more effort. Okay, if I don't put guide you now, what will happen? You'll neglect this, there you'll go and struggle. That's why I'm giving a clear introduction to all this. So introduction is very tough. Once introduction is over, learning this is very simple now. You know where, what is what, where it will fit in now. Only you have to just analyze it and start learning now. What to do, where to do, how to do, that's it. So fine, so how do you create now? Let's go to which one now? DOS prompt. Go to DOS prompt. You know how to go to DOS prompt now? So go to DOS prompt. Windows R, shortcut, CMD, press enter, you'll get the screen. Type SQL plus. What is it? Can you guess? I'll press enter here. What is it? It's giving you one prompt. Fine. But what is it? It's an exe file. Basically, do not forget that. Okay, earlier if you type, it wouldn't have got executed. But after installing Oracle, it is executing. Before installing Oracle, it gives you what? Internal or external command error. But after installing Oracle, this will work. Okay, means it says enter username. Okay, why? Because you go and see now. You go to Windows D, go to My Computer, Properties, Advanced System Settings, Environment Variables. Now look in path, what has happened? What has happened? See in the home, what has happened? Can you see Oracle has come there? So path means whenever you install any software now, many times path will be set like this, and it is pointed till where? Bin. So SQL plus is a exe file present in bin folder of Oracle. So that is why that is executing now. You should always know how things are getting executed. Are you clear with this? So setting path is very, very essential. Understood? But here you don't have to set it because it is happening by default. Just understand how it works. For Java we set the path, but for Oracle we don't set the path. Clear? Okay, fine. Shall I cancel this? So imagine when many things are, means when your application is not running now, these are the places where you have to debug. You should check whether Oracle is working or not. So later on you'll understand why all this becomes very essential. Clear? So I'll cancel this. Don't do anything. I just showed you. Okay, because the path has been set up till, one second, see, path. I'll copy it and put it into what? Edit. Just I'll show you. See the notepad, I paste it for you. So this is the path now, what has been set. And it is so powerful, it will come and sit in the first only. Oracle, no, it will come and sit in the first only. See this. This is what you had set. Just I am showing you all this. Do not worry too much about all this. It is happening by default. Yes or no? So that is why you go and see in this location now, what will be there? SQL plus might be there. Here you go and see exe file. SQL plus.exe, yes or no? So that's how you understand things, how they work. At least not to full extent. To a basic level you start understanding how things are getting executed. Clear? So I'll close this. Not required all this. Don't save. Cancel, cancel, cancel. Understood? Close everything. Understood how this SQL plus worked now? So yes, to which schema you want to enter now? System or HR? So type now HR, username, password, HR. It will not display. Don't go on typing again and again. It will not display. Okay, press enter. So now you are connected. See now from C prompt. Earlier it was what? C prompt. It has been changed to SQL prompt. So now you can type. This is the editor. You are going to use this editor to interact with what? Oracle database. So all your doubts will start getting clearer now. Understood? So first, what is the step I have to take now? I'll create one table with the name employee. So this table will be created where now? In the schema or user called as HR. Understood now? So we are learning database independently now. Clear? So shall I clear all that and I'll draw this table properly now? Okay. So you have to type all the queries there now. I'm going to teach you some queries. See, this is the table I'll be creating. It will be having one employee is the name of the table, employee ID, name and salary. Yeah, that's it. But I'll write that side because I need space here. Understood now? Table is actually in what? HR. Now I'll not draw anything. I'll draw only the table. Focus on the table now. See, this will be the table. Obviously in your table you'll have what? Columns like this. Okay, I'll have only 3 columns. Employee ID, the second column name will be name, the third column name will be salary. These are the columns. Fine. So a table will be created like this now. It will not have any data. So we start inserting data now. So data this time I'll hard code. Right now I'm going to hard code. We'll learn how to use the table. Later on what will happen? These values will come dynamically from the user interface. Why? Because we'll write the front end for it. Like this, tables will be there, and we are going to write the front end, fetch the value and dump these values into database. That's how they will come dynamically. That will happen later. So first we will hard code and store the values. Clear? So this is the table I want to create now. So to create this table, now what should I do? Question is that. So very simple. See, this is the syntax for creating your table. This is the syntax now. Syntax for creating table. Create table, table name. Any name you want to give. Okay, and you can give your column names. Like I am giving there, employee ID, column name, salary. Like that you can give the column name. And now see, that's a column, fine. Okay, but what type of data it will store? In all environment, this is a common story. In Java, to store what? Group of characters we use string. To store number we use what? Byte, short, int, anything. Same story will come here. These are called as data types. So Oracle also has got its own data types. We'll see the data types of it. So this is the next thing now. This is the syntax now. We'll see how the query looks. Okay, this is the data type and you'll specify the size. So this is the syntax. So now when I execute this query, you'll understand how you type this. So means what I'm trying to say is create me a table called as employee. In that first column name will be employee ID and it will hold what? Data type, a number type. Okay, it should be of number. Like that we have to create now. So we'll see now. This is the syntax. Now the example for that would stand like this. Compare now, easily you'll understand. Create table employee. The column name, first column name will be what? Employee ID. What is the data type it will hold? Type of value, some numerical value, and the value is numerical. But to store numerical value, Oracle gives you a data type called as what? Number. Number is the data type in Oracle. Like in Java you got data types now. Same way in Oracle you got data types. So fine, and you're telling the size. 5 means the number of digits. 5 digits. It should not exceed more than 5 digits. You should specify the size. And definitely no means it's very few companies. Now how do you know how to put that size as 5? It's very simple. Just common sense use. Okay, in one company, maximum how many employees will be there? Okay, maximum they can have is up to 5 digits you take. 5 digits means what? This is the employee ID number 9999, 99,999. So which company will have so many employees? Understood? So like that we decide. Okay, so means maximum you can store is 5 digits. So the last value what you can store in, if I specify 5 is 99,999. Starting from 1 I can store up to 99,999. 5 digits I can store. Fine. The next name. Look at the next column. What it is? Name it is. And the data type I am using is varchar2. So in Java we use string, but here we use varchar2. That's the data type. You have to get adjusted now. Understood? Now what is the anybody's name? Size will be what? Not more than 30 characters now, or 50. Like that you guess. 30, 50 required and specify the size. Next, salary is one more column what you need. It is going to hold what type of value? Numerical. So I'll tell number. Nobody's salary will exceed what? 6 or 7 digits or maximum some digits will be there. So based on that again some common sense use and give the value there. That's it. So what happens now if you type this query now where? In the SQL editor the table gets created. So you have to use the SQL editor to interact with the database. First create the table and then you can store your value. So I'll create type now. So you go to the SQL editor, start typing now. What? Type here. And see, this SQL is a case insensitive language. You can type in small or you can type in caps. But from today itself, start typing always in caps. I'll tell you why. That's the convention we follow. Okay. Even when you go to interview, they'll ask you to write some SQL queries. Do not write it in small case. Okay. Always write it in uppercase only. Even though it works. Okay. We always prefer to write it in uppercase. That story conventions I'll tell you in the next class. Okay. Better you type it in upper class. So keep your caps lock on and type. Even though if I type it in small case also it works. Keep your caps lock on and type now because you are working with database. So create. What is the query now? Table. Correct? Huh? Yes. Now what is the name? Employee. Correct? Huh? Then what? Open brace. That's the syntax you know. Now tell now fast. Employee underscore ID. This is also one convention. Whatever the name of the table, whatever the name of the table, the first column name should be the name of the table underscore ID only. It's a convention. I can write EMP underscore ID also. I can write EID also. Anything I can write. Any name I can give. The name of the column can be what? A, B, C, D also. But if you give A, B, C, D, now what is A containing, what is B containing, what is C containing, who will know now? So that is why we give proper names to the column here also. If the column name is A, tomorrow what do you understand? A is holding what value? But if the column name is employee ID, you understand now. This column is holding employee IDs only. Understood? So the convention, one more convention what you follow is, the first column name will be name of the table underscore ID only. It's a convention, not rule. Rule means what? It should be. These are conventions. Employee underscore ID. Then what? Data type. Number. So this is the data type in Oracle. Size is what? 5 digits. Now put a comma. You can go on seeing this here. Clear? See this? Employee ID means, see, look at this syntax. This anyway you'll understand. This syntax you understand now. So after giving that comma, next what is the next column name? Name. Then what? Space. What do you have to give? Varchar. 2. I think it will not be visible, so I'll pull it back. Understood? Varchar 2. And what is the data type? Varchar 2. Yes, size is 30. Any size you can give. Okay. Comma. Next. Here also comma. Then last what is that? Salary. Space. Number. What will I give? 6. Understood? And put semicolon. Don't put comma there last now. If you are having a next column, then put comma. Otherwise, put semicolon. So this is your final query now. Create a table employee like this. End with semicolon. Press enter. You'll get the message. Table created. Now table is ready. So I sent. See, in the SQL editor, I typed the query. It's a high level language. So the SQL database means the Oracle database, what did it do? It took this query, compiled it, and then executed. Okay, if your query is wrong, compilation fails. And if the compilation fails, execution will not happen. So here compilation will happen automatically. You don't have to compile anything here. Understood? Now supposingly table is already there. You try to run this query, you'll get a message. What? Table is already existing. Okay, table is there. Okay, but no data is there. Data is not there. Okay, so now let's start filling the data inside it. So before that, see, I'll show you the description of the table. Learn all these queries now. DSC employee, describe employee. That's a command now. These are queries now. Press enter. So in database we learn queries like this. Concept is over now. What you want to do? We learn it with the help of queries. The concept will be implemented with the help of queries. DSC employee means it is giving you the clean description. There are 3 columns: employee ID, name, and salary. These are the type, data type, and their size. Like this, it tells you the clear story, but there is no data inside it. So describe employee will give you the description of the table. Description of the table. It will not display the data. Okay, it will not display the data. It only gives you the description of the table. Now, if I want to see the data in the table, I'll type one more query now. SELECT star from employee. Select star from employee. Press enter. Now it will show me the data, but there is no data here because it's a simple. First time we created the table, but there is no data. Are you clear? So DSC will give you what? The description of the table, and select star from will give you the data inside the table. Okay. So slowly. Now how many queries you learned already? 3 queries. Create table employee, DSC employee, select star from employee. Now see, by chance while typing I might make some mistake. I'll not give space here. Example I'm telling. Press enter. This also works. Some mistakes, like see this. Select L is missing. By chance I'll try to press enter now. It gives you an error. This query fails to compile. When it is not compiling, it cannot execute. So type your queries properly, else you will start getting errors. It's very simple here. You have to type your queries accurately. If you don't type your queries correctly, you start getting errors. Clear this? Fine. I'll start making you understand very clearly all those things now. So yes, so your table is created. Next, what you have to do? See, these are the queries now. See, first, anyway, leave this drop table, leave that. Okay, now see, I created the table. Did you understand this query? Yes, fine. Describe also you can type. Instead of DESCA, you can type what? Describe, both will work. CA. Type. See, I am copying and pasting, but you have to type. Describe employee, same result. So DSC also will work. Describe also will work. Fine. Then next. Now select star from employee. There is no data. Are you clear with this query now? Yes. I want to insert the data now. So let me type this now. So how do you insert the data now? Start seeing now. You have to type now. How you have to type? Insert into which table you want to insert? Employee. Don't make any spelling mistake. Insert into employee. Values. Like this you have to type. 101. Okay, insert into employee, space, values, type. Understood? So then open brace, 101. So 101 will go into the first column now. Okay, for number, see, we don't use anything. But for varchar, means if you want to insert a string value, we use single quotes. We use single quotes. Understood now? For varchar, what you have to do? Single. If you give a value like this only, it will be stored in database. Understood? Then lastly, what is the value? Numeric. No need of single quote. Press enter. So you'll get a message. One row created. Understood? And now, if I want, I can insert one more row. Now I'll not go on typing. I'll lose time. Okay, this query, you can write it and type it if you want. Understood? So what I'll do, if I want to, means 1 second. As soon as I did this, as soon as I said insert into employee, values, 101 Ramesh, 1000, what happens? 101, understood? Ramesh, and salary is 1000. The data is inserted into the table like this. Now data is there. Earlier no data was there. Clear? So now you got some data. So if I want to insert one more row, fine. What will you do? Type again. Insert into employee values 102 Rajesh, single quotes. Then what? 2000. So one more row inserted. Now you see, we had typed on query earlier, which was that? Describe. Let us see, DESC, employee, what happens? It will show you the description of the table, but it's not showing you the data. If you want to see the data, what you should say? Select star from employee. Now you see, it will show you the values. What is it showing? Employee ID is 101, name is Ramesh, and his salary is 1000. It's showing you the data. Are you clear? So that's the difference between describe and select. Select star means it will show you the contents of the table. Describe will show you the description of the table. So now you have started learning queries now. Yes, let's continue. So you can insert the values like that. Oh, there's one more style how you insert. See, this is the way you insert. How you insert means, see, insert into, see, there are two inserts now. One is this insert which I used just now. It is shortcut and it's very easy to type. But do not use that. Okay, we always follow this convention. Now what I am going to insert now, this is very important now. Insert the values like this. Type, even though it is very lengthy, this way of typing, later on you'll find the benefits of this in a very big way. Understood? So in your Java application, you'll be inserting, it will be in a single line. Understood? But what is the difference? You're telling here, insert into employee, the 3 column names you are specifying now. Then you are telling what? Values, same. But only what came extra? The column names are coming extra. See the difference between this query, which one? This query and this query is what? Only the column names are coming extra. Type it like this only. Okay. So this is the way you're going to insert now. I just showed you that one. It works, but we go on to insert values like this now. Are you following now? So what will I type? Insert into employee, employee ID, name, salary, values 103, Ganesh 3000. And if you go to next line, it will be like that. Semicolon, 1 second. So just I am typing now, 103 gets inserted. And again, if you want, you can say select star from employee. It's been inserted. So like this, the data goes on getting inserted. What is the, when I executed the second query, this was inserted now. Ramesh, Rajesh, 2000. Next value is what? 103, Ganesh, 3000. So like this data starts getting inserted. Fine. So what do you do now? Type again. What will you type? I'll just enter off all the values, paste. Now Revati is getting inserted. 104, Revati 4000. If I want one more record, he'll get inserted. Understood? Now who is getting inserted? Ravi. Okay, then next Kumar will get inserted. But you type, you don't copy paste like this, sir. You copy paste, you'll never learn. You have to type clear, is it? So then next, because you should know how you get the errors, how you debug, that you should understand now, because you're learning SQL queries. So all the rows have been inserted. If I say select star from employee, this time you can notice all the values have been stored there. So what are the different values we have put now? So 103, understood how to insert? See, right now we are giving the values directly, but later on understand, the same queries will be written in your application. You will get the values from the UI. Same query will be written where? In application. You will not type it in SQL editor like this. And these values will be sent to database. So you should be accurate in writing queries. One small mistake, your application will not run. So practice writing queries, don't copy paste. I'm telling you the importance of writing the query. Understood? Otherwise you will also follow the same thing. Oh, sir is doing, I will also do. Okay, but later on you will have difficulties. Yeah? So practice is mandatory here. Understood now? So here values will come, this is your UI. From the UI values will come into your application. Then you will build a query, insert into that query where you will be writing. You can see, you can insert into will be written in your application. Now this application can be VB, C Sharp or C++ or Java or whatever language. The same query you will write here. So whether you develop an application in any language is irrespective now. So mandatory you have to write this query in your application later. Understood? So practice your queries. So that's how the values will enter dynamically later. Okay, 104. What is the next value? Revati 4000, 105, Ravi 5000, 106, Kumar 6000, 107, Rama 7000. Some names are taken. That's it. So the data has been inserted. But the data is still not saved. In any environment when you work now, you should save your data. So if you want to save in database, we use a command query called as commit. So understanding of commit? Data is inserted, but if I shut down the computer now, here also it is not, means you will be working in a file, text, which one? Word, Excel and all that. If you don't save, what happens? It will go away. Same way will happen here also. So if you want to save it permanently, what you do? Save it. But the command we use for saving here is commit. Commit, understood now? For every query put what? Semicolon. Commit complete. You will get this message. Now it is saved. You shut down your computer, restart, all the data will be there. If you don't commit, table will be there. Data will not be there. So commit it. Clear? Fine. So these are the queries. Next. So, see, in fact, I am trying to show you a very simple thing. I am trying to show you how to do CRUD operations. I'll simplify now. I'm showing you how to do CRUD operations with database. With database, we only do 4 things. What? Create. So CRUD operations now. So for creating C stands for creating a new record. But for creating a new record, okay, which query will you use? Insert query. Understanding now? So we are learning how to do CRUD operations. CRUD. C stands for create. Means creating a new record. How will you do it with? With the help of insert query. Next, I show you how to do read operation. Means reading a record. We'll read a record. Okay. So for reading means creating a record, reading a record. So for reading, what will I use? Select. Then for updating, this is for updating a record. Updating means value is there, I want to change its value. Okay, so that is called as updating. For that, which query will I use? Update. And I want to delete a record. Deleting a record means I don't want Ravi there, so I can delete it off. So that for that I use the command called as delete. So I showed you about insert now. Next, what I have to show you? Select. R operation I show you. I show you how to read now. Yeah. So see this now. Anyway, we already seen it. One, select star from employee will display what? Select star from employee will do what? You saw just now. It will display all the values. But type again. Type all these queries. So now we are seeing how to do the read operation. Data is there in the table, but I want to do the read operation. Next. See this. It's not mandatory that you see the full table now. Sometimes I want to see only what? ID and name. I don't want salary to be seen. Means data will be there in the database. Now when you want these values in your application, you will not fetch all the values of the table. Only required values you will start fetching. Understood? Not fetch, because the data, the table will be very big, very huge. Now why do you want to get all the values from the table into your application? So what we exactly do is, we start writing queries in such a way that it will fetch you the values only which are required. This is what we have to practice now, because we are application developers. So from the database we need the values now. How many values you need? That you should know how to get it accurately, because if you get more values also, waste. If you get less values also, you can't write your logic. So now see, let's see how to write the read queries now. So select employee ID name from employee. See, I'm selecting only what now? ID and name. And it will display me everybody's name and ID and name. It is displaying me everybody's ID and name. Just go on seeing how I go on teaching you the select query. So but anyway, for doing read operation, what query I'll use? Select. Then next query now. See, it is not mandatory that, okay, you have to select first ID only, name only. There is no order like that. While inserting, order is mandatory. Okay, but while reading now, you can read it in any order. First you can see what now? See this query now. I'll first select the salary, then I'll select his name. Means in the database it is stored in the same way. What? First is ID, second one is name, third one is salary. But while reading, first I'm going to read what? In this query, salary, and then I'll read name. So you can read it in any order you want. Understood? That's your wish. So in on query also there is one on concept. Understand what is the concept and then go on executing your query. So now see. Now first what will be displayed? Salary. Then what will be displayed? Name. Enter. So you'll see the salary first. Means you can see it in any order. It's not that you have to see first ID only, then name, then salary. Any order you want, you can see it. Fine. Now fine. See, till now what was happening? You are seeing the salary and name of all the employees, but now that is not the case. I want to see salary and name of only Ramesh. I want to see his salary. See now, select salary name from employee, where name is equal to Ramesh. So now what is getting added extra here is where clause. If I write only this much, what will happen? If I write only this much, if I write select salary name from employee, it will display me everybody's salary and name, it will display. But I don't want to see everybody's name and salary. I want only Ramesh, name and salary. So fine, you can give a condition. So this is how you start giving conditions. This is where it becomes more interesting also, important also. Okay, so now see, I'll type the query, just see what happens. Only what is getting displayed. I said select salary and name from employee. So telling from which table? Which table? Employee table. From employee table I want only salary and name. Okay. And that too whose name is Ramesh. Correctly it display. It's displaying only two columns. It's not displaying what? ID. Because you told salary and name. So like this, slowly you start understanding the queries now. Slowly. It will take time. And we are going to write these queries extensively for what now? 1 full month we'll write. Automatically start understanding now. Clear? These are very basic queries. So 100, 1000 and Ramesh. Then next, see here, we can give conditions like this now. I want to say ID now. This time I don't want salary, I want ID and name. That's all. but whose name starts with R. So where name like R percentage. So here we are giving what? Where name like R percentage. These are all operators. There is something called as operators in Oracle. All that I'll classify and teach you. Don't worry. Okay. So where name like R percentage means what will happen now? Now, whose name starts with R? Only those names. What it will display? ID and name, because I am selecting only 2 columns. So it is displaying ID name. But the same if I had told select star, what will happen? For all the employees it will display. Sorry, all the columns. All the columns it will display. But whose name starts with R. See, previous it was displaying only employee ID and name. This time it is displaying all the columns. 3 columns. Which are there? ID, name and salary. All the 3 it will display. Clear? So now how many columns you want to select? You decide. Star means all the columns. Okay. It's very simple for you to make understand. You know, this in detail I will be teaching you tomorrow. It's a very simple way of writing that query. Select, you'll write the columns. Here what will you give us? Columns. Column 1, comma, column 2, comma, column 3, like that. Or star means all the columns. Columns means column 1, comma, column 2, comma, column 3. This is one option. In any order you can write. Or you can say what? Star. So for from, what is the value you'll give? Table name. Here you'll give table name. That's how you write the query. Understood? Now where will be used? If you don't, using where is optional. Using where is optional. But if you don't use where, what will happen? Everybody's records will be selected. Understood? Select the column 1, column 2, column 3. Either like this you go, or you say star. Okay. See, when will you go for star? When you want all the columns. When will you go like this? When you want to restrict the columns. I don't want all the columns. You know what are columns now? Employee ID is on column, name is on column, salary is on column. So select is used for what? Restricting columns. Select query is used for restricting columns. From is used for what? Giving the table name. So here, and where is used for what? Can you guess? Restricting rows. From is used for restricting rows now. Oh, sorry, where is used for restricting rows? Means I don't want all the rows now. So I'll give the condition where name is equal to Ramesh, where name like R percentage. Okay. Now percentage is actually called as a wild character here. Percentage is called as a wild character. Okay. We'll be discussing all that. So percentage will replace what? Any number of characters. Percentage will replace where name like R percentage I told now. So whose name starts with R and can have anything as the continuation. Any number of characters. So that's why we are seeing what? We'll see the display of what? Ramesh, Rajesh, Revati, Ravi as well as Rama. But it will not pick which one? Ganesh, Kumar, it will not pick. Understood? But when I say name like RA percentage, what will be happening now? Ramesh, Rajesh will be picked. Ramesh, Rajesh, Ravi, Rama will be picked. But Revati will be excluded. So you can do that. That's called as pattern making and matching. You'll build the pattern. Okay, and then whatever matches, it will display that value. Pattern you have to build. R percentage, RA percentage. Okay, you build the pattern. Whatever matches that, it will be retrieving the value. All that I'll be covering now. So this is what you have to learn now. So this syntax I'll explain to you detail in the next classes. So let me clear this off. Understood now? This is used for restricting columns. This is used for restricting rows. This is used for selecting table. Which table you want? Understood? Which table you want? Means this is called as clause. Select clause, from clause, where clause. Okay. Yeah, we finished with R percentage, and this was the result of what? R percentage means Ramesh, Rajesh, Revati, Ravi as well as Ram all are getting displayed. Means 5 records are getting displayed. But I want RA percentage now. Fine, do that. No issues. We name like RA percentage. This time Revati is excluded. Notice. Yeah. And next. Now I want to see all the means see what columns you want you select now. Understand now? Employee ID and name I want. From which table? Employee. But now I'll give a condition like where salary is greater than 3,000. So whose salary is greater than 3,000, it will show me now. Done? So but I didn't select the salary column. Notice that. Since I didn't select the salary column, it will not display me. If you want the salary column, what do you do? Add salary. Salary comma, sorry, name comma, salary. Now it will display the salary also. So which columns you want, you go on selecting now. And I gave a condition, I restricted the rows. How did I restrict? By using the where clause, where salary is greater than 3,000. So select will be restricting the columns, where will be restricting the rows. Fine. Now see this. Select salary into 2 from employee. Means it will double the salary and display. Select salary into 2. Means it's doubling and displaying. But fact is it is not modified in the database. Means remember that select will never modify any contents in the database. Select query will never modify any contents in the database. It is reading and while displaying it will multiply it by 2 and display. Understood? It is reading. But while displaying it is multiplying by 2 and displaying. If you want to see again I'll type select star from employee. See what happens. So you can clearly see it is not got modified. Understood? So select query is never going to manipulate the data in your tables. It only reads and gives you the value. Understood? This is a very tricky interview question. I'll write like this. Will it modify? It will tell it will display. But if I ask you whether it will modify, it will tell what? Yes. It is not going to modify, it's only displaying it for you. Yeah? So select will never modify, remember that. It only reads the value. So that is what I completed, second operation. R for doing read, which query will I use? Select query I will use. So the next one is what? Update. Means data is existing. I want to change. What kind of a change? Let's start seeing now. So here update employee, set salary is equal to 222. I want to change the salary. So I'll write the query now. Update employee, set salary is equal to, one more new query we are seeing now. Update. Salary is equal to 222. What happens now? All rows are updated because I did not give a condition. Understood? See, this is very, very important now. Start understanding here. While inserting, it's okay. But while doing any of these 3 operations, reading, updating and deleting, you have to give the condition by using what? Where clause. If you don't do it, what will happen? It will affect all the rows. Okay, so this for all this we give condition by using where clause. For all these 3, which one? For reading, updating, deleting. If you don't give where, what will happen? Select was selecting all the rows. Update is also doing what now? Updating all the rows. Understood? So that's why we give conditions. So giving condition is only the what we have to learn now. How do you give conditions while querying? Because data will be there now. So now see, if you give a wrong condition, if you write a wrong query in your application, if this query was written in your application, what would have happened? See from the application point of view. Now for debugging, how much of time you will take? Here it looks very simple. But if you write a wrong query like this in your application, a lot of problems you will face. So be careful while writing your queries now. That's why practice a lot. So now anyway, so if you see select star from employee, see I'm going back, select star. Now see earlier what was the value? That was the value. Now when I say select star, notice everybody's salary has been what? Changed to 222. So now I want back the previous values. So you have to do undo. If you want your values, previous values, you can do undo. So how will you do undo now? Control Z. So Control Z will not work here. Here you have to write queries because you have to give the command to the editor. Editor will give the values to the database. So I will use a command called as rollback. One more query we are learning now. rollback. Understood? So when you use rollback, what happens? It will undo. Undo to what? To the last commit. Where you saved last, till there it will roll back. Understood? So rollback means if you have saved somewhere now commit, it will undo till the last commit you have done. Clear? So rollback. You will understand that also. Rollback complete. When did I do the last commit? When I inserted 7 rows. Yes or no? So now you see select star from employee. Till there it will roll back. Understood? So this is rollback. So be careful while updating, else wrong things will happen. Understood? Next, see, so I have done rollback, fine. Next, see, I want to set the salary of the employee name, whose employee ID is what? 102, means the employee name, whose name is, whatever ID is 102, I want his salary to be updated to 222. Fine, let's do it now. How you do? Write the query, update. Which table? Update the employee table. In the employee table, which column you want to update? Salary column. You want to update the salary column. And what you want to update? 222. But if you write only this much, what will happen? You saw just now, everybody's salary was getting updated. So I'll give a condition where employee ID is equal to 102. Press enter, only one row will get updated. Are you clear with this? So only one row will get updated. Now you say select star from employee, press enter. Now how many rows have got updated? Only one row has got updated, but it's still not saved. If you do rollback, what will happen? Again it will go back. So you have to commit. If you want permanent changes, commit. Understood? Fine. That we'll see. See, now when I want to update, I can update like this also. Till I was giving you what? ID as the criteria, but I can also say what? My name is equal to Ganesh. But do not update like this. I'm showing you these are the possibilities, means you can use any column for updating like this. You can use where employee ID is equal to 102, where name is equal to Ganesh. Because if one more Ganesh is there, what will happen? His value also will be updated. So generally when you do these operations, you'll be working only on the ID. ID will be updating, basically. But I'm showing you this is also one more possible option. Okay, so where name is equal to Ganesh. Now see only what is the Ganesh value here? 3000. But now when I give a value, so what happens? Only one row is getting updated. So I'll say select star from, now see, Ganesh value is also changed. ID is equal to 102 also changed. Ganesh is equal to name is equal to Ganesh also, value has been changed, yes or no? Where ID is equal to 102, that is changed. Where name is equal to Ganesh, that also is changed. But again observe carefully when you are writing the query, whenever you are talking about varchar, when you are giving a varchar, give it in single quote. Whether you are doing insert, or whether you are doing update, or whether you are doing select also. Select star from so and so where name is equal to Ganesh, that time also you have to give it in single quotes only. Fine. Now see, update employee set salary is equal to what? Salary into 2. This time I am doubling the salary, but this time it will update. Changes will happen in the database. Changes will happen in the database. Definitely it will happen. See this? Because I am using which query? Update. And I am given a condition where name like R percentage. So only whose name is starting with R, those salaries will be doubled now. If you want again say select. See everybody's name who starts with R. Ramesh has been changed to 2000. Rajesh has been changed to 444. Ganesh remains as it is. Okay. Revati has been changed to 8000. Ravi has been changed to 10,000. Kumar has been changed to, no, Kumar will not change because it starts with K. Lastly Rama has been changed to 14,000. For name like R percentage. But this is a permanent change. Okay. Then if you want, I'll change the name also. See here, I can give, when you can give multiple conditions also. Update employee, set name is equal to KKK. I'm changing two things. Name also I'm changing. Salary also I'm changing. But name, see how did I change? Single quotes. Salary fine. But where name is equal to what am I telling now? Kumar, like this. So two things will be updated for what now? Kumar. Two things will be updated. Notice, only for Kumar, two things will be updated. See, for Kumar, what has been updated? Kumar has been renamed to KKK. Means supposing he changes his name tomorrow, and as well as his salary increases, something like that. Now you can update it. Clear? Means you can update not only single column, multiple columns also you can update. Till now I showed you how to update single column. Fine. Now if you don't want all these changes, what do you do? Roll back. Do roll back and say select star from employee. All the values will be again displayed for you. Means it will roll back till the last commit. Last commit was when I did the insert of 7 rows. After that I didn't do any commit. Till there it will roll back. Clear? A clear screen is what? Command? Huh? CLR, SCR, no? That is not. CLR, SCR. Just CLR. No semicolon. Oh, leave that query. Anyway, we don't use this editor. Later on, I'll be showing a very good editor. Okay. Semicolon, leave it. That's a DOS command. We are in SQL prompt now. So this query is going to actually a database. We are on SQL prompt. So I just checked. That query is not working. Leave it. Just I wanted to clear it. Leave it anyway. So fine. Let's see how to do the last operation now. Delete. Delete operation we'll see. CRU over. Let's see the last operation. Delete. See, when I said delete from employee, what happens? Can you guess? You are seeing the last query now? Delete from employee. 1 second. Or I'll do like this. Yeah, now you see, start seeing now. Delete from employee. What it will do? It delete all the 7 rows because I did not give a condition properly. Yes or no? So now you see select star from. There are no rows only. Select star from employee, there are no rows. But I want all the rows. But table is still there. Table is still there. I only deleted the rows. Okay. So DSC employee. You can see table is still there. But values are not present. Okay. So if you want select star from employee, will not work now. Because there are no, it's working. I mean to say there are no values now. No rows. But I want all the rows back. So what should I do? Roll back. Good. So roll back. Again it will bring me all the rollback complete. And now you say select star from. It will display me all the rows. But if I had said commit, gone. But anyway, we are learning how to do the delete operation now. So that's why you give a condition now. See how you give condition? Where name is equal to or where ID is equal to. Same way you can go on giving conditions. So give the condition now. When one row is deleted now. And if you say select star, only what is not there? Ravi is not there. 105 has been deleted. Okay, fine. Now, if you say delete from employee, what happens? All the values will be deleted. But now if I say drop table employee, can you guess what happens? Table only will be deleted. Full table. Table, there's actually a table is there with how many values now? 6 rows. It is there because last time I deleted only a single row. But now if I say drop table employee, full table is gone. Table also is not there. Value is also not there. Now go on typing what? DSC employee. All this will not work because table is not there. When table only is not there, where is the question of writing? Select star from employee now. Understood? Table only is not there. So now no use of writing this one. So now if I want my table back, what should I do? No, it will not work now. Okay, that's how much about database you know. Understood? So anyway, tomorrow you'll be start seeing all this. Okay, so rollback will not work for what? DDL queries. Rollback will not work. I'll tell you tomorrow what is DDL query. Rollback will work only for commit and rollback work for only DML queries. So what is DDL DML? We'll see it. Means DML means data manipulation query. You do manipulation on data, rollback and commit will work. Understood? Or rollback will work. Rollback will work. Data manipulation, rollback will work. But if you drop a table and all, rollback will not work. Clear? That will classify it very clearly. So any questions for the day? Practice this much today. Install Oracle, set your environment, execute all these queries, and then finally we can move to the next subject tomorrow. Clear? That's it.